everyone, it is Heather Hurt with the NRW, where nerds rule the world. And this is our very first episode of Tales from Behind the Comic Counter, where we talk to comic for people who are professionally within the industry. And when we say that, we work in it, we breathe it, we live it. We literally do. Just to start out, before we do anything, Tales from Behind the Comic Counter contains strong language, random rage-filled tangents, and may cause you to be concerned about the entire human race. Listener discretion is advised. So we're going to get started. This is one of my favoriteest humans, Steph. She is in Texas, we've 5-6 years at this point.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we were in a women empowerment group that we are not going to name anymore at one point, because we needed each other so strongly in the comics industry. We have grown since then. We have grown into better human beings since then. So we're going to start. Our very first episode is going to be super centric, and I'm going to talk about me. Steph, just sit back, enjoy. Definitely interrupt if you feel like you want to.
I am here for the ride. It's fine.
So we are going to start way back in the 2017s, 2017, maybe 2018, somewhere in there. I'll have a small picture of this book eventually up here. But it was a typical Tuesday. For those of you who do not work in the comic industry, but y'all know that Wednesdays are new comic book days. So that means Tuesday is when we get the product. So I was doing the atypical thing, putting books on the counter, putting books on the shelf, being all ready and being all happy. A couple walks in, totally cool. You know, I have staff, they're happy to work. And so they're like, hey, can you do anything? Do you need anything? No. Recognize the mom right off the bat. Her daughter, big My Little Pony fan. Lots of those customers. We were in a mall. So mom walks straight over, pilot, picking through the books, trying to find the newest issue. Dad strolls over. Now, in most comic shops, Steph, yours was included in this. The kids section is usually pretty, it's not necessarily away from the adult books, but it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily far. So literally an aisle away on the other side of the store are indie books. Mm-hmm. Cool. Dad wanders over there, just looking around on the very, very bottom shelf. You see him look at something. Then he walks over to me. He taps me on the back of the shoulder and he goes, I'm very short. So when I say this man was like 6 feet tall, and he taps me on the shoulder and I'm up, on a small ladder. And he goes, he says, I have a question to ask you. Okay, sure. How can I help you? He goes, I want to show you something. That's not a question, but okay, let's do it. So we walk over to the indie section, and he picks up this book called Story of My Tits. And I always forget who it's by Jennifer Hayden. I'm going to make sure that I properly reference. And it is a story. Well, we'll get there. He literally looks at it and he shows it to me and he goes, this is inappropriate for my child. I will never come back. We'll never come back here.
Tits are inappropriate for a child.
And I was just like, I was very confused. And he's literally talking about the word tits.
Tit. Okay.
And we get into the conversation, and he's talking about a 3-year-old. If your 3-year-old knows what tits are, that's a different conversation entirely.
You read the word tits. One, congratulations on having an advanced 3-year-old who can read. And two, where did they learn that word? It certainly wasn't at the comic book store if they already know it coming in.
Yep. And he's like, this is at eye level for my child. Okay, well, it's about 3.5 inches off the ground, but if that's eye level for your child, all right, cool, sure. And it's also completely away from any part of the comics that your child, who is a regular of ours, goes to.
Yeah.
The mother, by the way, is completely checked out. She sees my concern just in general and just kind of nopes, and just keeps doing her thing.
Man, no, way, but whatever. Continue.
So I look at him like, sir, that story is about the author's journey with breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he literally looks at the back and he goes, yes, I can read.
Can you though?
That's a good question. And I was like, sir, that's, I'm sorry that it upsets you, but it's, my grandmother had breast cancer. I have 2 staff members whose parents have breast cancer. One of them died. I'm confused. And he's like, this is inappropriate. You shouldn't have this where kids can get to it. And I'm like, the kids section's over there where your wife is.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care. I'm
nowhere near this book. You just actively sought something out to be angry about.
And it was just like, where your wife is. She seems fine. And he's like, he just gets super mad, super angry. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not even going to fight this, because guess what? You ain't worth my time. I literally have an employee whose mother was killed from that disease. I ain't going to do this. So I said, sir, you have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming to visit. And I turned the fuck around and walked away.
Yep.
By the way, when I turned around, wife was gone. She dipped out. The next day, I'm just working Wednesday. Most of the time you have a full staff on Wednesday. And so I'm just hanging out. The wife wanders in and grabs the book that she was looking for My Little Pony, slips it down and goes, I am so sorry for my husband. Don't worry, we'll be back. He just won't come back with us.
So my opinion on that is, I understand her not wanting to get caught in his fuckery,
his orbit.
But at the same time, if you're going to take your adult man child out in the public, please babysit him. Like, you're not responsible just for the 3-year-old in a space that you're already familiar with. You're responsible for the idiot that you married a child with, harassing the employees about unnecessary shit. She should have apologized to you there and stuck up for you there for the crap he was pulling. But that's my opinion. I'm glad she came back and said something, but at the same time, like, tell your husband not to do that in front of the woman that he's being a bitch to.
Yeah.
But that's me.
I have not seen her in a while. That store has closed down, like so many good stores. Yeah. But it's one of those where it's like, ma'am, if you're still out there, your child would be, 7 or 8 at this point. I hope you're living your best comic book life and you have kicked his sorry ass to the curb.
Yes. Bring in more, books for the kiddo. There are Lumberjanes and Raina Telgemeier age now. And husband would be very mad about both of those. And cup full of male tears.
Could definitely do some Squirrel Girl and some some good Batgirl stories with a trans woman in it. That would totally make him happy. Totally
get on the Miss Marvel train, because the show's coming out. Maybe Hawkeye, and then when Hawkeye's girlfriend shows up in Multiverse of Madness,
Ooh, or America Chavez, who we're so excited about.
That's what I said, because she is in the trailer for Multiverse of Madness. I'm so excited.
I know. And she gay. I'm so excited. Technically
She's
the first gay character in the MCU.
I love it.
So excited.
Yeah. Okay. I just wish, more parents would. Well, because my predominant experience is usually like, we get parents who are like, I don't care how violent it is, just as long as there's no kissing or sex. And I'm just like, I'm not giving your 4-year-old Punisher or Carnage. I'm sorry. Like, I can't morally do that.
Hey, I mean, just remember, I have literally taken a Deadpool book to the face for many retailers when parents don't pay attention to violence and sex.
I've told the movie story, right?
Okay. Oh no, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
To our audience, make sure this is what this is here. We are here about. Let's get that rage going. Let's talk comics. Let's talk stupidity, because guys, we need this. This is catharsis. So make sure to
on Zoom is free.
Therapy is so expensive, my friends. Sorry. Therapy is worth it. It's worth it. It's just so expensive. Okay. Steph, if they have any comic book questions, where can they reach out to you?
So I am on Twitter at Faye_Tality. That's FAY_TALLETY.
Perfect. All right. And if she is a comic retailer, so if you ever have any questions or you want to know about books, she is one of the best, and she works for like the longest standing comic book store in the country, I believe, or like your store is one of.
Yeah.
So
we are getting 47 years.
Outpaces mine by like 15 to 17 years. So yeah. So and you can follow me at Nerd is a Heather on the tweeters as well, and at Heather is a Nerd, and at Heather is a Nerd on Instagram and TikTok. I can speak English, I can't. And you can follow us here. Make sure you subscribe, because Steph and I have a lot of stories to tell, and this is just the beginning. Thank you for joining us for Tales from Behind the Comic Counter, and we'll see you next time.